You still get involved on the channel?
Hit record.
No, can I get those little ones that flip up?
Flip down?
Okay, we're just gonna get started and then people will join as they come in, whenever they miss it. And of course, as always, I'm recording this to get put on our YouTube channel. So if anyone does not want their face to be seen, please shut off your video, but except for Kevin and Marnie. So I'm gonna let Marnie introduce herself and take it away, Marnie.
Hi, I'm Marnie Abbott-Peter. I work for the BC Wheelchair Basketball Society. And what our organization does is to provide wheelchair basketball opportunities around the province, from grassroots right down to active start little kids, right up to sort of high performance stuff. And we have clubs and programs running around the province: Prince George, Kamloops, Kelowna, Victoria, Nanaimo, Parksville, Langley, Chilliwack, Lower Mainland. And so, yeah, hopefully I can let you know a little bit more about the clubs, and if you're interested in trying things out. And we've got all kinds of different levels where you can get or to get started at. We also have a wheelchair loan program. I'm sure Kevin will mention that as well, which helps you get started in the sport. You don't necessarily have to purchase a chair. You can loan it from us for a very reasonable rate. So yeah, we basically have all the things in place to help people get started and to get involved if they're interested.
Awesome. And so how does someone get involved, Marn?
So they can give us a call at our office. You can definitely check out our website, which is bcwbs.ca. There's information on there about current programs that are running, about club activities, tournaments, how to join a team, how to practice, those kinds of things. You can also call our office, which the phone number is 604-333-3530. And there's someone there pretty much during all business hours to be able to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. And my other question is, so if you live like in a more, what areas of the province, first of all, do you have teams like all throughout?
Yeah, so we do have teams around the province. We have what we call our BC CWBL League. So we have anywhere from 6 to 8 teams every season participating in that league. A couple of teams from the States. We have teams from Kamloops, Kelowna, Victoria, Prince George, the Lower Mainland. There's a group coming up in Nanaimo. We've got people practicing in Courtney Comox area, in Vernon. So we do have really established clubs that have teams in the league, but we also have smaller clubs or programs where in some of the smaller, more regional communities where people can still participate. And the thing about wheelchair basketball that we really like to promote and let people know about is that it's not just a sport for people with disabilities. We encourage and invite able-bodied participation at all levels, and it really helps boost up the numbers in the clubs. It allows us to invite some real sporty people into the sport that you know, are really great basketball players. A lot of times people may have some kind of a knee or ankle injury where they can't run and jump like they used to. They might not think that they have a disability, but they are eligible to play wheelchair basketball and to still be out there and to be active.
Awesome. So what if you don't have anyone in your area? Like how do you get going and started? Like how would you promote it?
I think the biggest thing that we would probably do if you were interested in trying to get a club or something going in your area is to do what we call a have a go, which I'm sure Kevin will chat about a bit too, is where we can bring in some chairs and help community members, schools, whoever, people can come and try it. And then if there's some interest and appetite, we can help support that kind of club development or program development.
Awesome. Anyone have any questions for Marn while she's right here? Or?
This is my first time. Can you hear me?
Hi, Cameron. Yay. Good work.
I can't get my video out for some reason.
Ah.
I don't know why. I'll try my phone. But I wanted to interested in the UBC drop-in. Has it started yet? Then what time?
They're just ramping it up, and the information of when it would be starting will definitely be on our website. Yeah, the UBC program is a really great example of a recently developed club. We have one of our women's team members who's in school out there and decided she wanted to get something going with the intramurals group, and has started a little club at UBC. They've already started to purchase some of their own chairs. They don't actually have a team participating in the league. As Cameron mentioned, it is a drop-in program and great for skill development, good for new people. And so, yeah, definitely that will be coming. And our season sort of runs kind of end of September until beginning of May. So that's when the majority of our leagues and programs are running. We do have a few one-off things during the summer, but that's sort of our main season.
Yeah, I tried it in Richmond on August.
At the Oval?
Yes.
Yeah, so we do have a great program at the Oval, and what we'll be doing at the Oval this year on our Monday nights is, so there's 4 Mondays in each month, and each Monday we'll have a different focus. So one Monday will be a BTG evening, so inviting all new players to come and try it. The next Monday would be a skill development evening where you can come and just work on your skills. The following Monday would be a game night where it would be an actual game with an official and keeping score. And then the fourth one would be a women's only opportunity. So we'll invite
Yeah,
all
I
the
saw.
ladies.
I was on your website and I saw your schedule.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. This is a new initiative that we're starting with the Monday night programs, just to see what the response is like and how the programs develop. And
Yeah, the problem there is transit. The last bus leaves at 9:15.
Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
tough.
I really have no problem wheeling to the station. It's not flat and everything, but if it's raining, it's not a
Not a
thing.
pleasant thing.
Yeah, it's a weather kind of thing, right?
Whereabouts are you coming from?
Well, that's why well, you see, I live in Kitsilano. UBC
Oh,
is
okay.
15 minutes away.
Yeah. Yeah, so
That one, they
transportation is definitely an issue. We try to use venues as much as possible that are near the SkyTrain. We use Douglas College a lot, the Oval. We've had a program run out of the Roundhouse and some different areas like
I'd
that.
go
So
area downtown. Yeah, okay.
we definitely do think about that when we're trying to plan programming.
Well, I'm sure. I know it's just not. There's not much you can do because I used to scorekeep hockey at night. And I used to go out there and I'd get the bus there, but it'd be 12:30 when I'm coming home and there's nothing.
Yeah, that's
But
great.
right. And the clubs, where are the clubs? Like, I mean, the UBC.
We're at UBC.
The other, I mean, I didn't. There's one basketball thing down on Hastings Street. Is there a community center or something?
Oh, that's the rugby. Kevin, I'm sure Kevin will
Okay.
talk about that. That's at Ray Cam. Yeah, so that's a wheelchair rugby program that runs out of there. Right, Kevin? We
I
can't
can't hear
hear
him.
you.
Sorry, just on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, wheelchair rugby runs out of Raycam.
So Martin, if you're loaning a chair or borrowing a chair, are there chairs there for people to use to try out, or do you have to like lug it?
That's a really good
around with
question. So the program at the Richmond Oval, we do have chairs there. And if you do sign up online, there's a registration process. You can let the organizer know. Her name is Coach Nadine. And she could also bring an appropriate chair to the program. So when you're just starting out, you don't necessarily have to worry about moving a chair back and forth. Some of the other areas where we do run practices and programs, we're able to store a little bit of equipment, but storage is always a bit of an issue. So if you do have your own vehicle, or if you're able to transport your chair yourself, that sure makes it a bit easier for sure. Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about the kids program, right? So
Mhm.
why don't we talk a little bit more about Let's Play? So what does that look like?
So Let's Play is our introductory program to wheelchair basketball. It's our active start and fundamentals. And so we're targeting kids 12 and under. And it's the best job ever. I get to meet all these awesome little kids and families and give them a little sports chair and teach them the skill of wheeling and just get them playing a little bit more. One of the things we found in adaptive sport is we would have kids coming when they were 12 or 13 or 14 and they want to join a team, or they want to play wheelchair basketball, or they want to play rugby, and they've never participated in sport before. So they didn't have that skill of wheeling. They didn't know how to catch and throw. They didn't necessarily have confidence to participate in a group. And so finding the kids a little bit younger and getting them physically active when they're little is sort of what my main goal is. And working with the schools and the communities to offer them some programming locally so they don't necessarily have to drive and go places for programming. So that's kind of the main focus. And the Let's Play program really is, we've got about 110 kids around the province now that have their own chairs that are using them on a weekly basis, which is pretty exciting. And we'll see maybe 15 and 20 years from now, those will be kids that are all participating in our leagues. But yeah, just getting them started a little bit younger, helping the parents understand that it's not all doom and gloom and physio and medical appointments, that their child still needs to have fun and enjoy playing just like any other kid. And so, yeah, we kind of get to bring that back to the family and give them the opportunity and the equipment they need in order to do that.
Awesome. So if a kid is using, well, how do you get them involved in like a school or community group? Does everybody play wheelchair sport, or like how do you make that sort of team? Like what's the...
Yeah, so we do a lot of, with the Let's Play Kids, we do have a fleet of wheelchairs that do school visits, and they are in a variety of regions, so Prince George, Okanagan Island, and Lower Mainland. And we go to the school with a full fleet of chairs. So, and schools can take different options where they can have the chairs for 2 weeks for a full PE unit, or just for 1 day, or for 3 days. What we try to do is just get every student the opportunity to try a sport wheelchair and to play some of the fun games that they can play in the chairs. And then that allows the child to kind of be on an even playing field with their peers and to get a different experience. And all opportunities, unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to do that all the time. So sometimes it's just me working directly with the teacher to identify ways of integrating this one child into a regular PE class where kids are running around. So just ideas around modifications and adaptations for safety and how everybody can have fun and still be challenged. Just making sure that that child is being physically active and playing too. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys are like work with all different types of disabilities?
We do, like wheelchair basketball mainly focuses on a fairly specific demographic. You have to have fairly good upper body strength and be able to push a sports chair. The thing with the kids is that when I meet a child who's 4 or 5 years old, I don't know what their capabilities will be when they're 12 or 13. And so we're just giving all the kids we meet the opportunity, and sometimes the chair works for them. Other times they have it for a few weeks and they give it back just because it's not really fitting their needs or fitting in with what they're capable of doing. A lot of the kids that I do meet, I'm able to refer to appropriate programming though. So if I meet a child maybe with CP who wouldn't necessarily play basketball or rugby, but would be a good candidate for bocce, then I'm able to refer them to those kinds of services. And also just connecting the families with things that they're interested. Some families like camping or cycling or different things. And so it's a bit of a referral service too, to help these kids and families kind of navigate the landscape, because you put in something in Google and there's like a million things, right? So just helping them make choices and connecting them with services and programs that will be beneficial to their family and fun.
Awesome. Anybody else?
I have questions about other than that. But anybody, nothing about hockey? Anybody know anything about the hockey?
A little bit. There's a couple programs that are running.
Yeah, I know the programs, but I don't know what to do. I've applied. I emailed Sportability Friday, and they haven't gotten back to me.
You mean the sledge hockey or the ball hockey they play in the sports chairs?
Well, both.
There's a couple of different types.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't really know about this ball hockey, there's something up at GF Strong, is there not, or there used to be.
It used to be, but it's moved. It's at the Roundhouse now.
And the Roundhouse.
There's a ball hockey or a floor
It's right in the
ball
spring,
club.
right?
And then there's sledge hockey definitely at Surrey Leisure Centre and also at Hillcrest.
Yeah, that's the one I wanted to do it on Friday. The one, I mean, I'm not sure what I need to do to try it out. Like, I mean, do I just show up, or?
I'm not too sure on that one. I don't know if Kevin might know, but we could definitely find out and get back to you on that, Cameron.
That'd be great. And also that Roundhouse, the ball hockey, is that on a Monday night still?
I think it's on Thursday nights.
Well, Thursdays are good for me.
I'm not
I
100% sure though.
It's like I have Mondays and Thursdays off, and Friday. I've taken Fridays off so I could play sledge hockey.
Go ahead, Kev. Did you have something to say about that?
No, just the sledge hockey program, it usually can drop in. They store sleds at Hillcrest, so you might want to just roll by there one time and just check it out, and you can ask some questions there. But you can also just get back to Jade. You can call her at the office for Sportability. She's in 4 days, so should be able to get back to you.
What is her name again?
Jade.
Okay.
Jeff, you have a question?
I am so out of shape and too many surgeries, but I'd like to help out children. I have a love for children. I did a program in Kelowna at one time years ago, and I'd like to get back into it just to get out and not have all these appointments.
Whereabouts are you located now, Jeff?
I'm in Kelowna.
You are in Kelowna.
Yeah.
We're just working with the community center at Parkinson to set up an adaptive programming for little kids.
I live right by there.
If it comes through, I'll definitely let you know.
Sure, that'd be awesome.
Love to have volunteers and mentors and other people involved. So I'll definitely keep you into the loop. It's been a bit of a challenge in that area. I know the school district has this superintendent who's just all about risk management, and
oh no,
it's really difficult to get into the schools to do stuff too. But we're definitely looking at expanding more in that area. So we'll for sure let you know about what comes up there.
Yeah, just to get out and not see the doctor or physio or something. Just
social.
Do something different. Yeah,
Sure.
Give back.
That's an awesome idea, Jeff.
I'm also quite interested in like volunteering because I need to fill my days.
Great.
For whatever. I mean, I do a lot of the studies, but anything you got, just let me know. Basically.
Awesome. Thanks, Cameron.
No problem.
All right. Do we want to move to Kevin? Anything else?
No, unless there's more questions.
Okay. All right, Kevin, you take it away.
Actually, well, I could just
Oh yeah, go ahead, Cameron.
this is all the drop-in programs are what I'm interested in right now, but I haven't done anything. Right? You know, I don't know how to play. I made a hook shot though, playing basketball.
Oh, awesome.
Oh yeah, right from the top of the key. You know, that was it. I'm retiring. You know?
There you go.
Awesome.
One and done.
yeah, that's what I'm doing. You know, somebody would have had the camera.
All right, take it away.
Monday, Monday drop-in would be Roundhouse, not Roundhouse, would be
Richmond Oval.
Richmond Oval. Okay, I mean, as long as it's not raining, I'm good with that. But and is it?
I can connect you with hey Jess, I can connect you with Marnie if you're not already, and she can send you a bit of a schedule of,
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, I've seen the schedule online. We're all good there. It's just
okay.
I've talked. I mean,
if you like our Facebook page as well, there's lots of good updates on Facebook about programs and one-off camps and how it goes and all that kind of stuff. It's just listed up on our Facebook page.
BC Wheelchair on Facebook.
BC Wheelchair Basketball, yeah.
Because I actually, that's another question. I tried because UBC, they have a Facebook thing too, right? And you have to join it to get their schedule and everything. But I applied, you know, and I haven't heard for 10 weeks. Right? So.
Yeah, sometimes some of them are like that. But
Yeah.
I think anyone can join BC Wheelchair Basketball. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to find, you know, an actual schedule. Because all you could find was the summer when they had the Friday drop in, right? Okay, yeah.
All right, well, let Kev take it away.
Okay.
Sure. So I'm Kevin. I'm from BC Wheelchair Sports Association. So we cover wheelchair rugby, wheelchair tennis, and wheelchair athletics, which is seated throws and track and road racing, really. So similar to wheelchair basketball, we also run a wheelchair loan program, so people can get involved in a variety of sports. The 3 sports that we operate have very unique chairs, one to the next sport. So if you are interested in getting involved, you can't really use one chair for all sports. So we can help connect you with the right chair for the sport that you're interested in. And then we also run programming across the province. So our programs for wheelchair rugby are from Prince George to a new program that we just started in Kamloops, Kelowna, and then Vancouver, Victoria, and Duncan. So those are the main programs for wheelchair rugby. And then for track and field, we have programs in Victoria and in the Lower Mainland. And then we have some touch bases in Kamloops and Kelowna for the track and field clubs there. If somebody should choose to get involved, we can help steer you in the right direction. And I know Jessica's on this call as well. So she's also a great touch point in Canada for sure to get you involved, as she's a multi-sport athlete too. And then for our tennis programs, we have one in Kelowna, one that operates out of Kamloops on occasion. When people are interested, we can facilitate that. And then we have some programming in Victoria as well. We're trying to get something going in Prince George, but unfortunately we are still up against a few accessibility blockades with the club there and the emerging popularity of senior football. So we're trying to work with the club to try and get wheelchair tennis up and going there. They have a very keen coach who's interested in getting athletes out. So if you are an athlete in Prince George, then definitely contact us. And the more people who are interested, it helps us push the program along and create a need for increased accessibility. And then really we run events, so we're always looking for volunteers. We run events in wheelchair rugby primarily, but we'll also run tennis events throughout the summer. And track and field, we occasionally need volunteers to pick up implements for throwers, things like that. So if you have a volunteer in your community or you want to volunteer in the community, there are lots of opportunities for you to do so. And then lastly, we sort of, just to touch on the specifics of the type of athletes that participate, track and fields, as well as tennis, have divisions for all levels of ability. And wheelchair rugby is more specific to athletes who have at least 3 limbs affected by their disability. So that's the primary group. At the league level, which we have a local league that runs 3 times a year, then we're kind of looking for anybody who wants to participate, can help fill out some numbers. And then once you move to the Division 2 level and above, you have to have some eligibility in the sport, because classification sort of governs that sport in a way at all the levels. Whereas throwing or have different classifications, they'll allow you to participate at your level within the sport whenever you want to. And tennis is an open para class and an open quad class, so it's a little bit wider breadth of athlete that plays within each of those levels. So that's the basics for wheelchair sports.
Cool. Okay, so again, I'm going to ask you, if you have, you're living in an area that doesn't have any other, any events happening or activities happening, or no programs available, how do you have sort of a sheet that will tell you, yeah, okay, this is how you play the game and this is how, you can get people involved? And
yeah, definitely. On our website, we have different avenues to sort of create a successful track and field program, or how to build integrated programming, and also how to build a wheelchair rugby club. So you can also contact us if you're on one of those sports in your area. We can help facilitate integration by running, like Marnie mentioned before, a Have a Go Day, which is our Bridging the Gap program. It helps get new chairs and infrastructure out to a new community who's trying to build a program. As an example, in Prince George, we had 2 individuals who were interested in wheelchair rugby. So we ran several different Have a Go Days up there, and then helped work with them to establish some grants. And now they're running 3 years later as their own club. And they have 4 athletes who are eligible to play wheelchair rugby, and about 5 other people who participate in the club just to help with numbers. And now we're starting to do the same thing in Kamloops. So we've got some gym time. Our Bridging the Gap program is covering some of that gym time, and we're starting to get chairs there. In October, we'll have about 4 or 5 new chairs there, and we'll be able to run a more consistent program. And we have staff on the grounds in the Okanagan, Scott James, who also works for Spinal Program GBC. And he's helping to facilitate that program along with Stu Weimer in Kamloops. So the idea is that eventually we'll get some grant funding. They'll become a club this year, which makes them eligible for one of our national partner grants. And there's a club grant that BC Wheelchair Sports has that we can offer to help people get new sports rolling. And then hopefully 3 to 4 years from now, they'll be a sustainable part of the CASA. Jessica is a part of.
Yeah, sounds good. And then tell us the name of your website.
bcwheelchairsports.com.
Awesome.
Same website we all fit.
One of the things Wheelchair Sports also does that Kevin didn't mention was that every week on Thursday afternoons, they run a program in GF here to allow new injuries and people who maybe have come full circle and are back in GF for some reason to try the sports chairs, have an opportunity to transfer and just see what it's like to get in and out of a chair and just to try a couple of the different sports as well. So it's a good program that helps kind of connect people. Usually people who here are not necessarily ready for that step, but at least it kind of plants the seed so they have the opportunity later in life if they're interested in participating.
Perfect.
Do you have any events coming up?
We have a wheelchair rugby event coming up on the 4th and 5th of October in Kelowna at Constable Neil Bruce School. It'll be a wheelchair rugby tournament. And then our next tournament after that is the 2nd and 3rd of November in Vancouver at the Richmond.
Froze.
So those are our upcoming wheelchair rugby programs that are sort of event driven for volunteers.
Are you guys doing the spin classes this winter, Kev? That might be something people would be interested in.
Those start up in about 3 weeks, I think. James will be running them, but I don't have the schedule yet. Anna's still sorting through her time and schedules. But yeah, it'll be up on one of our sites. And I'm sure, Nathan, if you follow us on Instagram or on Facebook, we get lots of posts out there through our communication staff. So
we're gonna have to get this set up for run the spin classes. We can have groups from all over the
So
province
cool.
spinning at the same time.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Get you in shape, Jeff.
Spin class. I missed that. You have spin classes?
Yeah, so with either hand cycles or racing chairs,
Yeah.
and they go into the basement of our office and do some pretty vigorous workouts once a week. It's actually pretty
Cool.
great.
And where is that at?
It's in Vancouver, but we were just saying it would be pretty easy to do that province-wide just through technology.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, it's at the wheelchair sports office in the basement there, right, Kev? It still is. Yeah.
Is that the one in your office is Marine Drive still, or
Yeah.
where the SCI is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that is when?
Wednesday nights.
Okay. See, I'm limited because I work at night,
Mm-hmm.
Monday and Friday. But I'm good to volunteer, Kevin. If you want some volunteers.
That's great. Yeah, just send us your contact info and we can get you hooked up with our volunteer website. And it emails out all the different volunteer opportunities as they come up. You get an email and it lets you know something's happening. You can sign up for whatever level of service you want to provide.
Cool.
Does anyone have any questions for Kevin?
No, I missed everything. So sorry about that. But I'm quite interested in the track and field and so on. And
Sure. Yeah, the track and field programs in Vancouver are at Churchill School in the summer, but in the winter they're just run out of the Oval. So we have 2 different nights, but they fluctuate. So sort of like you get on an email list and they let you know when the practices are happening regularly.
Okay, there's some nights be Monday, Thursday, possibly. You know.
Sure. Yeah, you can connect with Anna at bcwheelchairsports.com and she can get you hooked up with anything.
Cool.
If not, I'm sure Terry can provide my contact information and I can hook you to the right avenue.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we'll let Jess go and then I'll ask you guys a bunch of questions after, I'm sure.
Hi guys, my name is Jess. I live in Kamloops and I'm on the board of Kamloops Adapted Sports Association. Depending on the time of year, we have a variety of things going on. Right now, we just started up wheelchair basketball again for the year, and we've actually got sledge hockey starting for the second time. I don't think it's up and running quite yet, but it will be in the next few weeks. We're a multi-sport club. We kind of have different things going on at different times of year. We do tennis when we have enough bodies to do that. We have curling when we have enough money to pay for it. And other things like that.
That's awesome. So I guess this question is like for all of you guys, how do you find, I mean, you're kind of advocates within the community, I guess, as well, within the sporting community. So how do you find the integration is of disabled sport into able-bodied sport, or like clubs? Do they support? Are you able to get in there and like?
Well, I'll go first. In Kamloops, it's a challenge. My dream is I would love to see more existing clubs just move forward with having sort of an adapted component to their already existing clubs, because often it's the same sport just with different equipment, so it's easier for already established clubs to sort of facilitate that, but there's a barrier there, right? They're unsure, they're nervous, they don't know if they're going to do it right. In some respects, it's good up here. Every year, the Kamloops Water Ski Club does a pretty awesome weekend where they have an adapted clinic that is really well attended and super fun. And I actually know they would love to have a regular adapted component to their programming. We just haven't found. Actually, there were a few guys who, for a while there, were participating with the club, but otherwise, it's a challenge to get clubs to be sort of receptive to having an adapted component. We had the city of Kamloops was allowing us to have a hand cycle in their spin classes for a few years there, and then I don't know, management changed and all of a sudden there was a risk factor or something and we had to take the hand cycle out. So I don't know, it depends on who's making the decision on any given day up here anyways.
Yeah, I think it depends on the community. I think in some smaller communities, it's easier to have that kind of integration just because people are more inclusive and more open to that, and they know each other a lot better than if it was just some stranger kind of coming in off the street. And so in the urban centers, it's way more difficult to make that happen. But in the smaller communities and then in the more isolated areas, I think it happens a little bit more organically just because people, that's the nature of community instead of the rural areas. So yeah, it's definitely challenging, and it depends on like Jess says, the leadership and who happens to be driving it. Sometimes you get these great leaders in communities and these awesome programs, and then they move away or they retire, and then it just kind of fizzles out. So it's trying to sustain that great work that people like Jess and John are doing up there, is just to kind of have some kind of continuity within it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say similar for us. It really does take a community champion to kind of make things work. Somebody who has a inclusive viewpoint or sees, the sport for all kind of thing. Like in Prince George right now, we've got one new girl that's throwing with the able-bodied track and field club because their throws coach is just super enthusiastic. She thinks athletics should be available for everybody, and so she's championing that. And they have a robust throwing program, so she just needs knowledge, and that's one of the things that we're there to provide. Is if somebody wants to integrate an athlete into an able-bodied club, we can help facilitate whether that looks like parallel programming or whether it looks like fully integrated programming. But like at least there's some sort of touchstone with somebody who's in the able-bodied athletics club or the able-bodied tennis club. One of the challenges with wheelchair tennis is often finding that coach who says like, I'm open to learning and open to learning about what's different between able-bodied tennis and wheelchair tennis. And when the coach is a little resistant to that, we've often opted to sort of say we can bring our coach in, but there's conflict between whether or not our coach can be coaching and not employed by that club. So it's trying to convince management again to relax a little bit with the rules so that somebody can have access to a game they might really enjoy. And as we are able to educate, we find that those walls come down a little bit more. It's taken a long time to push for Victoria to get second level programming, with one for intermediate and one for advanced, because forever they just had one single group that never really was receptive to having new people. And so having a new group was really important, but it required us to really push with that club and allow the club to let our coach in. And then once they were in, now that club coach is upskilled and now they're super happy to be running the program, and they're kind of like, oh, why didn't we think of this before, kind of thing. So it's just about trying to, like, you got to keep a little bit of subtle pressure on, and usually you can crack the door with certain sports.
So when you say community champions, like obviously you have to have buy-in with the community center or the club or whatever it is, but could it be directed just from, a peer or a person with a disability themselves? Like,
Absolutely. Like self-actualize is the best way to really create change, because you're in the community and getting the word out and telling people what you need. And that's really when it works best. If I just sit here in an office and tell somebody this is what the community needs, that may or may not be true. But if somebody in the community is driving it forward, Jess and her husband John are a great sort of example of that, because they knew what they wanted and they moved to a community where they could drive that forward. And now they got other people buying in, and so that worked, right? Your own generated change is always going to be more valuable than some administrator.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't ask Kev and Jess, do you guys, are there particular disabilities that you work with, or age groups? That doesn't matter.
For me, we're open to all sort of physical disabilities with good upper body strength is basically, like Marnie said, who's eligible for most para sport and wheelchair sport. There are a few exceptions kind of thing, but for the most part, wheelchair rugby is open to athletes with 3 limbs impaired by their injury, but all the other sports have a wide range of ability levels, and they're all governed by classification. So your level of injury is going to be similar to other people's injury who are competing in the same group to try and make a team or participate in a sport. So there's not a huge variety within each classification. The idea is to try and create similarity and give you an opportunity to compete with your peers.
And age as well,
We take all ages. But mostly our youngest start in Marnie's program, the Let's Play program. And the idea is just to teach them about physical literacy and about how important it is to move your body and stay fit. And then giving them little bits of skill development in each sport so that they have sort of a menu of opportunities to choose from. And they can maybe make their own decision as they get a little bit older and say, oh, I really like these 2 or 3 sports. And then, oh, here's a sport I actually want to play at a performance level, or I just want to be recreational all the time. Just trying to meet people where they're at is really the most important part.
Mm-hmm. Jess, what about you guys?
Yeah, same. We take all ages and all disabilities pretty well.
Awesome. What about, yeah, Cam, go ahead.
So it's no problem then for my brother to come and play hockey and basketball or whatever, right?
Definitely not basketball.
I want to get him in a wheelchair, and then we'll be on.
Yeah, so the Monday night program would be great for that. Definitely get him out there.
Oh yeah, well, I'm getting another chair, so I'm gonna have a spare. And I say, so you think it's easy? I'll give him the chair, and I'm gonna go down to the kids' pool and make him wheel up behind.
I was gonna ask you guys. I can't remember. Anyways, any other questions for anybody?
Yeah, well, actually, Kevin, I've just tried to submit my information into your website, and it keeps losing the internet every time I hit submit. It says,
"Oh, really?"
Yeah, it could be my phone, so I'll try on my tablet after we're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sure.
if you have any problems,
shoot me an email. My contact information is on there too.
Yeah, well, there's contact. I just tried to, it said become a member, get involved, and I filled out the contact information. I couldn't get it to submit.
Yeah, I think the thing that in my experience with sport, and you guys can probably, I'm sure, share, is that for me, well, in my personal experience, I was not athletic before my injury. I always talk about that beforehand, and it's sort of I got encouraged by peers to just sort of start trying things. And it led me, I met a great group of people, and, it was fun. So that's how I kind of got started. But it's just amazing, what is out there. Literally, you can think of any activity or sport that you want to do, and it's pretty much available. So, we just have a few organizations here today, but as Cameron said, there's, hockey and floorball and table tennis, badminton, hand cycling, yeah, swimming, yeah, anything. So I think if anybody is out there and, wants to try something. I always just say, just try anything, and it will just get you connected to a community that can perhaps lead you to where your passion is, or what you enjoy doing.
Yeah, you want to help me get a life.
Help you get a life. Yeah.
And even like Kevin
I mean,
mentioned
all I do is work, and I have at night, and my days are long and boring.
if you're not physically able to participate, though, we're always looking for volunteers, and Wheelchair Sports hosts some.
Well, I'm typically able, and I'll volunteer as well.
Yeah, and that's also a great way to meet people and get involved with the community as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or Jess, you guys are always looking for volunteers, people to help out. That's pretty good.
We don't have a ton of need for like quote unquote like capital V volunteers, but we certainly encourage people to come and just watch and hang out and join in the community that way. And we have tons of people that do that, like family and friends and people who don't necessarily want to suit up and play basketball. They'll just come out and hang out with a coffee on the sidelines, and that's certainly encouraged.
Are you guys are integrated as well? So able-bodied participants, family members, whatever can.
Yeah, we wouldn't. Actually, I was going to say we wouldn't have enough people to play if we didn't have able-bodied participants, but I think we actually do. But no, we definitely encourage all abilities to come and play. Makes it more fun when people have their buddies playing with them.
Definitely, yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Was a $35 fee to be a member of BC Wheelchair Sport?
Yes, yeah. All of our sport organizations have a membership fee, and that allows you to access programming. And then some programs.
I paid one in July, so I got to pay it again in September.
It starts from the day you pay it, so it's like if you paid now, it would be from September to September.
Yeah, I paid it in July to go to the drop-in at the Oval, right?
Basketball and wheelchair sports are two different organizations.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Membership fee for each. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
And if you're a volunteer, do you also pay a membership fee?
Some volunteers do pay a membership fee, but often it's covered through like their club. But a volunteer member is $10 to be a member of BC Wheelchair Sports, and it's just really to cover insurance for that volunteer.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, $35, well, that's fine. It's just I got to wait to pay it.
Yeah. And Jess, do you guys have a membership fee as well?
Yeah, our fee is $100 for the whole year, and that gives you access to all the sports that CASA does.
Well, then I guess my question is to Terry. So do I pay for the wheelchair basketball in July, but the membership expires at the end of August? That's correct?
Your membership?
Oh yeah, ours is on an annual basis. So
I paid in July. I paid $35 in July, and now I have to pay $35 again. Correct?
yeah, I think so. I'm not sure if our membership works the way Wheelchair Sports does, where it doesn't matter when you pay it. Ours is always renewed in September, I'm pretty sure. But I'm sure if you just paid it in July, I'm sure we could negotiate something if we needed to.
Well, no, it comes down to it. I can pay it. I mean, you guys need to have some money.
Definitely.
We all need money.
No, I get it right.
That's a good question. Where does the money come from? I'll start with Kev. Where does your money come from?
Where does our money come from? My fingers.
The money tree.
I do a lot of typing for grants. But yeah, I would say our funding model is really like a third is kind of the best way to describe it. So a third comes from like fundraised campaigns and grants. Another bucket comes from provincial government, federal government, in terms of like base funding that they provide for sport based on population, type of programming you run. The gaming department is part of that, so we get some funding through gaming. And then the other third of our funding comes through provincial and federal government, but that's more directed at high performance. So there's a bucket of money that's just for athletes who are on track to be Paralympians.
Gotcha. Why don't you plug your fundraising event?
Sure. We have a fundraising event annually called Push for Impact, and that is one of the things that generates funding for all our programs. It's a wheelchair rugby event that gets corporations and friends and family out playing and just create a team and get out playing wheelchair rugby. And it's a fun day for everybody. And we raise money for our charity that goes back to service programs or help us buy wheelchairs, sport wheelchairs, neighborhood of like $2,000 all the way up to about $7,000, depending on what you're getting. So it helps us to invest in that wheelchair loan program that gets us those expensive chairs to you for a very nominal fee.
So another question, I don't suppose BC would cover sports, the medical cover sports wheelchair?
No, you'd have to go through your medical provider or through a purchase.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
you
I
can
don't
loan it.
have, I'm just on BC Health, right? So,
Yeah, you can loan a chair from us for
Yeah.
$100 a year. So
yeah,
it's-
I don't know, that's a pretty good deal. It's just, I was just curious if the government might be able to get them to pay for something.
You might if you get your doctor to write a letter about how it's going to impact your health.
Mhm.
Well, she'll do that. My doctor's great.
You could try it. Yeah,
Always worth
if
a
it's going to
try.
improve your overall health and quality of life, I don't see why they could deny it.
Well, there's just, then they're just buying me a new wheelchair. They're coming in with a demo here in 10 minutes.
Nice.
Might not be too enthused about it.
Not right, maybe.
Well, I tried to get a wheelchair last year and I broke my chair and snapped it, the frame.
Hmm.
I went to Toronto and I come back, there was a letter there telling me, we don't want to pay to fix your wheelchair anymore, get a new one.
Oh, well. Jess, where does your guys' money come from? And do you have any events to plug?
I don't have any events to plug at the moment. We same as Kevin, grants basically, and membership fees from our athletes as well.
Lauren?
So yeah, we get some of our money from the provincial government, some of it through gaming, some through donations, and then yeah, a lot of grant writing as well. A little bit through membership, but not too much. So yeah.
And your event?
We have a Hoop Fest every year that we run in May, which is corporate teams buy in for $1,500 to play for an evening, and that's our big annual fundraiser. We are hosting the Junior Regional Championships this year, actually in Kamloops, so we'll be looking for some volunteers for that event. It'll be in March, I think. Do you know the date, Jess? So it's a big junior event.
Excuse me.
And that's okay. We only do sort of our one annual fundraiser. We are involved with Engage, an outside company that helps generate some of our funding as well.
Awesome. I was going to talk about, ask you guys about, only because I'm an athlete myself, I know certain clubs have subsidies available. Let's talk about that, or do you have to go to league to figure that out? Let's go through.
So with basketball, we have club grants that are available, and a lot of times they subsidize membership fees and chairs and that kind of stuff. We do help some of our high performance athletes with direct funding for training and equipment. If finances are a barrier to participation, we definitely like to have a conversation with the person and try and figure out a way to help them get involved if that's the only reason that they're not going to be able to be involved. So we definitely do take things on a case-by-case basis and look at things that way for sure.
Awesome. Yep. Jess?
We have no funding available. We're a pretty small club. We just
But in saying that, we're like once someone pays their $100, right? They're done like for the year, right?
Yeah,
They don't have
that's
to worry
yeah.
about paying any other fees. for
That's
equipment
what I
or
mean.
programs.
Our funding goes, all of our funds go towards just providing the sports and paying for the gym time and our equipment so that members can be active for ideally 12 months of the year without having to pay anything else.
Okay. Gotcha. Kev?
Yeah, well, we do subsidies occasionally. So if you have a financial need, you just have to write a note to BC Wheelchair Sports explaining your financial need, and then we're happy to waive, say, a wheelchair loan fee, or sort of come up with a partial payment, or like you pay your $10 we have to acknowledge that for insurance. So it's pretty tough to waive just $10. But the other programs and services that cost like a drop-in fee or things like that, sometimes we can work with the athlete to do that. We can write grants on their behalf or help support them to say get a chair. We've often helped like people who are moving through the performance stream that struggle to get something for their like optimal performance fit. For a chair, we'll work with them on like the Challenge Athletes Foundation grant or other grants to help facilitate an individual purchase of a chair. So there's opportunity that way.
Okay. Do you guys want to talk about like coaching or refereeing at all? Like if people were interested in that, the opportunities they might have?
Sure, yeah. Like all of our sports have some sort of coach or official, but typically there's a National Coaching Institute. Marty's probably the best person to speak about coaching, but you take different certifications. Some are general to just all coaching, and that's sort of the starting point. And then if you're interested in one of the sports, then we can work with you on some of the sport-specific skills that you need, and then you can take those workshops through each sport in order to get involved as a coach. And then officials, depends on the sport really. Athletics and tennis, they govern all of the officials in their sport. So you have to go through able-bodied tennis or athletics in order to start becoming an official there. And if you want to be an official in wheelchair rugby or have somebody you know who wants to be an official, they can chat with myself or Dean McKinnon, who ran his basketball and rugby.
I've got to go pretty quick, but like I said, I scorekeep hockey at night. So I'm good for scorekeeping any kind of games you got. I've got experience. I know how to use all the clocks, and I do it at the Oval all the time, all over all the different arenas all over the place.
Correct. Definitely need you, Cam.
Yeah, I'm all good to go. If I can get into the website. They're unloading chairs for me right now.
All
Oh,
right.
I'm excited. I would like to get a rainbow wheelchair.
Hi, well, good luck.
Okay, I got to go.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for all your information, and I will be in contact as soon as I finish with the wheelchair.
Awesome.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Jess, do you have need for officials or referees or anything? You guys more recreational?
Hallelujah.
Yeah, we don't have
How to
referee
get
games.
conference off. Come on. No, it's all good.
Decided to mute Cam as he, yeah.
You know what? We're okay up in Kamloops. We don't have like fully officiated games very often, and when we do, we actually have a pretty good supply of local referees. Coaching is always something we could use. It'd be nice to have a little roster of people who wanted to come out and run practices. My time is in demand these days. I don't even get out to play. I'm just in the background. So I think it's a bit of a player coach situation at the moment in Kamloops, which can be challenging for some people. So yeah, coaching for sure. We could use a little of that.
Mm-hmm. And then even if someone doesn't know about the sport, BC Wheelchair Sports has like sort of tips on your website and rules, list of all that. Yeah. Do you guys have that as well for basketball?
Yeah, and we definitely have some introductory coaching courses, and we're always looking for more coaches for sure. We actually have a few paid positions for coaches too, which is nice that coaches don't have to volunteer all the time. So yeah, coaching is definitely one of our biggest challenges, especially with our clubs. And it usually is a player coach kind of situation. But we're really trying to grow our coaching pool and to be able to train more coaches and to have more coaches around the province for sure. And with the officials, we partner with the BC Basketball Officials Association, and they help sort of forward a few of their officials onto wheelchair basketball that are trained up on the able-bodied game, and it's a fairly easy transition for most.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is it easy to be like a referee or a coach when you're in a wheelchair yourself?
There's definitely some challenges to that. I think just because one of the things with adaptive sport is there's so much equipment all the time that you know, schlepping and moving around that equipment is sometimes a bit of a coach's job and a bit of a challenge, but I mean, it can always be mitigated with volunteers or staff or whoever to help. But yeah, it's definitely a
Yeah,
challenge.
I bet. That's actually gives me I have another question about like help. So at these like clubs level, is there assistance to get in and out of sport chairs? How independent do you need to be? I know in rugby, I can speak for rugby, we always have volunteer and they're very helpful,
Yeah.
helping us get in and out of chairs.
Up in Kamloops, half our players are able-bodied, so there's always people around to lend a hand with transfers. It's never an issue. Up here, we've got enough hands that can.
Yeah, and definitely with any of our introductory or bridging the gap or have a goes, we definitely realize that is a bit of an issue, and we do have volunteers and helpers that can help do that or help show someone how to do it or just make it a little bit easier for sure. Yeah.
Nice. Do you guys, and you guys have that also in your other sports as well, Kev?
Yeah, with the pair throws, it requires a little bit of support for a lot of the quad athletes, especially to get up and into the seated throws chair. It's a vertical transfer kind of thing, versus down or an over, so it's a little bit more complex. But yeah, we have support all through that. With wheelchair tennis, the coach is able-bodied for the most part. One of the coaches, the other coach is in a chair. So depending on what coach is there, we can kind of work with the athlete to, like, if we know they're coming in advance, then we'll definitely arrange a volunteer, and not all the time is there a volunteer. Definitely let us know what your needs are and we will accommodate.
Cool. Anything, Jeff or Lori, do you guys have any questions?
No.
Oh, you're good, Jeff?
Yeah. Is there badminton in Kelowna?
Good question.
I
Is
don't
that
know. You'd have to contact Badminton BC. They would know where their other
okay.
programs are.
I know there's a really keen
great.
coach.
Like I mean, in chairs, like for a chair. Yeah.
And badminton would be a really easy sport, like tennis, where you could be integrated into an able-bodied club if it was accessible. So I would definitely, if there's a local club, maybe reach out and see if they have the facility that could host it.
Yeah, and Jeff, if you need some support, well, Marnie's husband is he basically makes the badminton happen here in Vancouver. So I'm sure he'd be happy to give some advice if you needed some support in getting something going in Kelowna, if you wanted to try it out.
I'd love to, because I like tennis, but it was a bit too fast for me because I'm slow.
Yeah, that's good. We even have a friend that does pickleball. So literally.
Oh, no way. That'd be fun.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
What is pickleball?
It's a good question. I've never played, so I don't know.
It's like ping pong.
Yeah, well, sort of ping pong, tennis, like, I don't know how to explain it. Yeah. It's an interesting game.
Yeah. Right now he's traveling around the US playing pickleball. Yeah, you can basically compete at any level. What's the in between, you guys have great, progress, I guess, of being coming out, being at recreational, but then maybe you want to be a little competitive. So at CASA, do you have different leagues or is it more recreational, Jess?
Again, we are sort of limited by our population. And I think this is a challenge with a lot of adapted sport, is because there's so few participants. We're all sort of lumped together, but there's certainly opportunities for athletes who want to excel to do that. I mean, we have a super talented wheelchair tennis coach in town who I think actually got a little frustrated that some of us didn't really want to pursue more competitive sport. He was gung-ho and ready to take us to the World Championships. Some of us were just winding down from those days. But I know that we've had athletes in the past who start with CASA and then get connected with BC Wheelchair Basketball. And then I think we currently have an athlete out at the academy. That's the National Wheelchair Basketball Training Center in Toronto. And he started in Kamloops and off he went. So we're a little grassroots, but we can figure out how to get people where they want to go if they want to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm. But I think you're a great example of like, you know, a small group of people that started with something. I mean, you guys only started how many years ago?
Like 6
Mm-hmm.
years ago.
Yeah, and you know, now you've got this great group of athletes that get together and try a whole bunch of different things, which is pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
So you're not super sports specific, which is great.
Yeah, we know that it's not really one size fits all, right? You know, there's people that do one thing more than the other.
Yeah, exactly. That's good.
That brings up a question for me. I'd like to play some sport, but I don't want to do hardcore. And I find that Kelowna is pretty hardcore, very hardcore. And, you know, I'd love just to get out and do stuff, but I'm not going to go out and kill myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certainly room for that. I know in Kamloops, we've got a lot of people that just come out and play on Thursday nights, and they have no interest in playing competitively or even on the BC Wheelchair Basketball tournaments, and that's fine with us. Same thing with tennis when we had it going. There were definitely players who were more competitive and players who just wanted to be out in the sunshine. And it's all about finding your fit. I mean, different organizations are gonna have different, what's the word, focus, I suppose. So you just got to keep trying until you find your fit, I guess, is my advice there.
Do you guys have like peer mentorship opportunities? So if someone like Jeff was like kind of just wanted to go around and hit a ball, you could connect them to someone in his own community to be able to do that?
Yeah, for sure. Like just speaking for the Kelowna area specifically, Scott James is our staff person 1 day a week, but he's a peer 3 days a week. So he's sort of got a dual role there, which is kind of great. So try and lean on Scott for resource, try and find access to programs, because there are lots of programs outside of just what BC Wheelchair Sports does in the community. There's curling, there's like a number of different activities. There's just social hand cycle groups where if you had a hand cycle, you just get out and they just go for a pedal down the street kind of thing. So that's super rec, and nobody's trying to be the next Paralympian. But it'll get you out and get you active. So that's what I would encourage you to do.
Yeah, I agree. I know like Scott is, you know, really involved in one of the guys that is like, you know, into sport. But Jeff, it might be a good idea just to like connect with them and say, hey, this is kind of where I'm at. I don't want to.
I didn't realize I have his cell number, so
There you go.
I can
Perfect.
shoot him a text.
Shoot him a text and just say, you know,
Yeah.
I just want to get out and try something. You
Yeah.
know? I
Oh my
don't
God.
want to, you know, do, maybe it's just like an activity, like go for a short little wheel, you know?
Yeah.
Just having someone that's, you know, accountable. And I guess that could be my plug for the All Wheel Project as well. So I think I sent out some information about that, but there's like a research study that's trying to connect people with a peer mentor that they do minimal or no exercise at all. You have to be in a manual chair, but you can be connected with a coach that can, you know,
Sign me up.
yeah. I'll send you the info on that.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all like through your smartphone, so you just have meetings, you know, with them, you know, once or twice a week, and set up goals, and yeah, so it's good.
Good way to get started, and it
Mhm.
helps to motivate you. At least you have a plan and stuff to go forward with.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't know. I would just say that there's real value in being physically active, because now that I'm getting older, it's more and more difficult to transfer and to do all those things. And think sport kind of helps your body stay fit and your brain stay fit. And that really helps for like the daily living stuff as you get a little bit older.
Mhm. What are you into now?
I like to ride my bike. That's my main thing. And I've been doing some gardening and stuff like that. Not playing basketball anymore, but yeah, still trying to get out there and do a few things.
Mhm. Yeah, and you have a power assist on your bike,
Yes,
right?
and I would
So,
recommend that to anybody.
yeah,
It's great. Yeah, I can ride
And I
in
mean-
any terrain.
yeah, that's someone that's like a multiple Paralympian gold medal winner that's saying it's okay to have power
It
assist.
is okay. Yeah. I highly recommend it, to be honest with you. I'm
Jess-
not ashamed.
Yeah, exactly. Jess, what are you doing these days other than being a mother?
Running
Yeah, I
after
do nothing.
children.
Yeah.
Freak, man. I stick out with my kids. Yeah, that's the cold hard truth. I just chase my kids around on grass and playgrounds, which sometimes feels like a lot. But I'm also looking at getting an electric assist bike because I have a hand cycle, but my 4-year-old's pretty fast on his bike, and he's faster than I am on hills. So I need to get some assist.
It's a very good reason.
Yeah.
Kev, what are you doing these days?
What am I doing? Not playing very much basketball anymore, that's for sure. But just getting out there and being active. And I do a lot of running because I'm still a referee internationally, so I have to fit to pass fitness tests. That's pretty much it.
That's good.
That's the sole motivator, is not failing at fitness tests.
Yeah, there you go. And the UBC Okanagan came out with their guidelines for SCI, so we've got to be following that. 20 minutes and 20 minutes.
That's right.
What was it? 20 minutes for
20 minutes of cardio and 20 minutes of weight, like training or strength training.
how many times a week?
I think they say two.
I think it's 2 to 4 is the range.
That's
Yeah.
not too bad.
4? Okay.
Hi, Abby.
Try to pencil that in.
Yeah, I know.
We'll schedule it in at work. Jess will like Skype and do it at lunchtime or something.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Abby, you're just catching our tail end here, but did you have any questions for sort of experts at all, like anything personally?
I don't know, maybe, I'm not so sure if, first of all, hi to everyone. I mean, I think it was some time ago, I had talked about it, that the rec center that I live close by, that is, what's the name of it? Terry Salmon Library. And the gymnasium and what do you call it? The pool. They can allow me only myself and no accompanying, and they don't allow me to use the gymnasium. So I wanted to use the gymnasium, but they don't allow me. And I wrote a letter and sent it to Heather Lamb to go over it and help me for the writing the letter. She's not in right now. She comes back on after September 30th. So I have to wait for her. I have to send to someone else. And I want to ask them to let me to go to the pool or gymnasium, both of them, and with accompanying person, and they don't charge me for the accompanying. So that is the downside of it. I couldn't use it because I didn't feel I can go all by myself. I don't feel like that. So this is where I'm standing. I need to get some exercise because my muscles are so weak, and I had falls a few times. I have to make my muscles stronger. I need to go to pool and doing exercise. And also I applied, I applied to GF Strong and Park as well, and I'm waiting for the response. So this is where I'm standing. I do a little bit walk every day, and that's all for now.
Mhm. Well, I don't know if you guys have any suggestions, but so while you're waiting, you can obviously drop into Park and just request that you see someone. They do like an intake, but they're usually pretty available. Or you can at least schedule one in person. And you can join like they've got so many different events here, sports that we were talking about earlier, that you can drop into and bring anybody, right? Like you guys are all inclusive. So,
Oh, yeah, we definitely are.
you know, you don't have to have a membership or, well, I guess you do have to have a membership, but your family member, whoever you're bringing doesn't, right?
Membership in what? Being membership, having membership of the spinal cord injury. I am a member.
No, like with BC Wheelchair Sports or BC Wheelchair Basketball.
Oh, for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not on wheelchair.
That's okay, right? Like that. What they're saying is that earlier they were talking about you don't have to be in a wheelchair. So it's not just for wheelchair people, it's all inclusive for everybody. I mean, you have a spinal cord injury, you still can actually probably be classified to really play like basketball or any sport, but even like they play with able-bodied people too, right? Because they want people to get out and be active.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And are you going to have the conversation being recorded somewhere that I can get a link to watch it, what you were discussing before?
Yes. Yeah, I'm recording this right now, so that's the whole purpose, is to put it on our channel, and then you can watch it and talk about it. But
yeah, I don't know how to get to that. When you upload it, please, is it possible you can send me the link that I can watch it? And I don't want you guys you spend your time to talk to repeat it again, what you were talking about. I can watch it later on.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'll do that for sure. I'll probably be doing it right after, since I'm at work. It doesn't take me as long when I'm at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which community center was it that you went to, if you don't mind me asking?
That is rally, what do we call it? It's near the Queen Elizabeth Park.
Hillcrest.
Terry Salman. It's a library, and beside it is gymnasium. I have to look for it. Let me see if I can. Just a second.
Because as Marnie was saying, Hillcrest is kind of near there, and
Oh, Hillcrest.
it's very
That's
inclusive.
Hillcrest.
Oh, they probably pay though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be paid.
Yeah, you know what,
Okay.
Evie? I have a connection with, well, you might even have it, but with Kim and Marnie. They're out in Surrey. They run the South Fraser Active Living Group, but they've done a lot of work in Surrey to talk to them about membership fees. Number one, getting recreation centers to give a discount for people with disabilities, and number two, having their assistance. So they might already have like a letter or suggestions for you that could help you out as well.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of work out there.
Is it possible that you can connect me with that person?
I will, absolutely.
That I can have a chat to see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Anybody else have any suggestions for Evie? It's a hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best thing I could maybe suggest is
Throw me any suggestion.
Yeah, Kevin has
What
a
was it?
suggestion.
you
Kevin
can
has a
apply for
suggestion.
outpatient therapeutic rec and help them navigate you through the system in that regard. So you can touch base with GF Strong for a rec referral as a outpatient, and they might be able to help you either navigate through that or find you some adapted solutions to your problem.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Kevin. Or, what you can do. So you just go to your doctor and get them to refer you to GF Strong outpatient, and then you ask them that you want to talk to the rec therapist here.
I did that. I asked my doctor to fill up the form, and they sent it to GF Strong, but they said you have to wait. We got a lot of application. So I'm waiting and they received it. I checked them, they received it. With the park that you were talking about, my doctor handed me, and I took it there, and someone took it away from me and said, okay, Allison Williams, she's gonna take over it. I'm calling, leaving message, and I don't get called back, and I'm waiting to see how it works. But you mentioned for the park, I can still go there or without the application form being started. I can go there and I ask them
Yeah, I would go there and say, I sent my form in, and I haven't heard any response, and I'd like to set up a time to do an intake.
Okay. It is going to be on the 3rd floor, if I'm not mistaken, because the office.
It's on the ground floor.
Oh, I went to the ground floor. They sent me to the 3rd floor, where
No.
Okay.
No, park is the gym, right? The accessible gym.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, park.
No, park is the gym, but when you have application, they said we are not going to look at the application. You have to take the application to the office that is 3rd floor.
Oh.
And there was a gentleman, he took it on behalf of Allison Williams, and he said, I'm going to give it to her. She is going to take it over, and then we are going to find out. I mean, she's going to contact you, but she did not contact me. It's more than a week. And I left a message for the gentleman that he got the application. I said, did you hand it in to Allison? Did you have a chance to do that? I called him and I left him a message. He's not responding. Anyway, so maybe he's not in his office right now, but probably I'm going to make.
I don't even think Ali is the person that is responsible for that anymore. So how long ago was that, Ebby?
It was 10 days ago.
Oh, 10 days ago.
I have the date.
Yeah, there should be. Do you have a copy of your form? Did you take a copy of it?
No, I didn't. So I have to go ask them to take it back from them if it's not. Do we know who is the right person to
I do. Well, the supervisor, her name is Christina, right? Christina, have you met her yet? I haven't met her yet, but Sharon's moved on.
Let me get it.
Yeah, but maybe you should try to set up an appointment with Christina and tell her what the situation is, because I don't think Ali is the right person who does that.
Okay. Where is she located, Christina?
Yeah, unless it was for a specific study that you wanted, but Park is something different. Christina is the supervisor of Park.
Okay. And she is in the ground level, yeah?
Yeah, in the gym, yeah.
Okay. Anna. She's supervisor, yeah?
Was that Abby? Sorry?
It wasn't me. It was someone.
Lori? Was that you?
Yeah. I'm a little surprised because Amy, the rec therapist at GF Strong, told me I wasn't eligible for Park.
For Park, I know they only accept people with like a spinal cord injury because essentially it's a research study. So I think they have taken MS people as well, added MS, but yeah, I don't think any other disabilities. But, you know, I would contact their supervisor to talk to them about that. That's that Christina, I can't remember her last name, but to talk to them about the details of that.
Yeah, well, then I was surprised.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the reason why how it got started was that what they do is they're collecting data, right? So it's not just like a community center; it's a research facility where they got funding to build this gym to take data on what people with spinal cord injury were doing and how and the health benefits of that as far as physical activity goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
But
just
that's
want
not to say that that could possibly change, right? Like once it's not a research facility, who knows, right? Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, no.
I want to thank Kevin and Marnie for taking some time out and chatting with us. It's been great. Great topic, by the way.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Hopefully we can get you doing something.
it would be nice. I do work out at a gym 3
Oh,
times
that's
a
good.
week, but I need to do more.
Yeah. It's a good start, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I got a list of
Yeah.
things I need.
Okay, Terry Lou.
Awesome. All right, well, should we get going? Call it a day?
Sure.
Anybody else? Thank you,
Have a good
Kev.
afternoon.
Thank you, Maren. Thank you, guys. I'll send you the link when it's up, Ebby.
Thanks, Terry.
Well, thank you so much. And the person that you mentioned.
Yeah,
to have-
Marnie and Kim, yeah, send you that link.
Yes. I would appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Have a good rest of
Thank
your
you.
Have a
day.
good weekend.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.